The transcendence of thinking means the transcendence of the egoic mind. It means that you are able to spend part of your time relatively free of compulsive thinking. Certainly free of self-serving thinking and destructive thinking that continuously creates unhappiness for yourself and the people around you. How many people live the compulsive narrative in your mind that for many people is very negative, constantly critical, constantly complaining, never at ease with what is. There's always something wrong, fault finding, because the ego grows through the constant opposition, constant antagonism, never at ease, and it's always looking for the next thing to complain about. The more you complain, offended is a new version these days. It's very popular on the internet. I'm very, very offended. Outrageous. How dare you? There are thousands or hundreds of thousands who go on every day, they look on their screen waiting for the next thing to be offended by. And the ego loves it. And for many of them it's the only way they can inflate their ego, by sitting on the screen and sending out tweets. The transcendence of thinking is not any kind of regressive movement. We are not regressing to the state of somebody whose mind is relatively undeveloped and who does not have a problem with egoic thinking because there's very little going on in their minds. What used to be called, before it became politically incorrect, idiot or fool. The fool was, there were always, you could see happy fools, that there's not enough thinking to make them unhappy, so they are below egoic thinking. When I say cessation of thinking, I'm not talking about regressing to the stage that is the pre-thinking stage of humanity. I'm thinking about rising above, pointing to the possibility of rising above thinking. So you stop thinking, which is normally associated with diminishment of consciousness, and transcendence of thinking is an intensification of consciousness, turning up the light. This is why the term attention and alertness, those terms are extremely important. Now, this attention, there's a state of attention that sometimes people experience when they're engaged in dangerous activity. You can climb a mountain. Do you think you're doing much thinking when you're hanging on this wall? No, you can't. You have to be absolutely present. In that moment you have transcended thinking, and the situation is forcing you into complete presence, this highest degree of alertness. Without it you slip and you're gone. And so this high degree of alertness, however, has no tension in it. In the case of somebody practicing dangerous sport, yes, there is physical tension, but the state itself has no tension in it, and you do not need to engage in a dangerous activity in order to enter that state. We are entering it here. Simultaneously to listening to it, you can verify in yourself this state of attention, which is a state of very high alertness, but there's no tension in it. When you first look at something, for the first few seconds, a new vista, a new landscape, you enter a room, or you step out of a room into the open, or whatever it is, or suddenly something new comes into your into your perceptual field. In the first 2 or 3 seconds, you don't know what it is. You have to first take it in. There's a moment of alert presence. But usually you're only aware of the sense perception. You're not aware of the background of the alert presence itself. But you can be aware of the alert presence itself as you take it in. And that's the key. So you're not just alertly present, you're aware of the field of alert presence in yourself, so to speak, as yourself. And the awareness of it and it are the same thing. Cessation of thinking. Now, you can try it. Even now, I would suggest that as I'm speaking, you may find, you may not know this, yet in the moments when I'm not speaking, like now, and now, and now, if you're alert, you're not thinking, you're just present. And now, there's just an alert field of presence. So, some of you may not be able yet to be totally free of thinking, but I believe that most people are able to, they have short gaps of no thought, pure awareness, or no thought. And then you look around. In that moment, your personal sense of self has receded. In a moment of pure presence, which is just this, you have no memories and you have no expectations for future, because you have no thought. But you haven't fallen asleep, you're very awake. In that moment, you're not a person anymore. What are you? Just a field of consciousness, conscious presence. Something has emerged from within you and has taken place of the person. The person is still there, it's just gone receded. If the only thing you achieve in life is this, that you are able to be free of compulsive and addictive thinking, if you're able to, almost one could say, to choose not to think when there's nothing in particular to think about, when you can just be present. So in other words, if you can step out of thinking into aware presence, that alert space, then that is the greatest thing you could achieve in this lifetime, that any human could achieve in this lifetime. I'm just saying it's an achievement, but it's not really. Because you didn't do it. You got out of the way and then it happened.